Hey everybody, it's Adele Frizzell here today with Coach Tiffany Buck. And today we're going to talk about a super popular topic that should be more controversial because a lot of the claims out there are not science-based. Guess what we're talking about? What are we going to talk about? Gut health. All right. So how to improve your gut health specifically. And a lot of people are interested in this topic. It's a really great topic, and we want to make sure that the information we give you is based in science as always. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, please ask away in the comments. We are happy to answer your questions even after this Facebook Live ends, so that, you know, if we don't know the answer, we can direct you to some resources. If we do know the answer, you'll have more clarity. All right. We don't have a dog in this fight, just so you know. We're not selling any supplements. We're not gut health experts. We're not peddling a gut health program. We are health coaches and nutrition coaches, very much into the science behind this and sharing what we know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started then with gut health. As many of you probably already know, gut health is a balance of bacteria in your gut. It's what when we talk about gut health, we're talking about the human microbiome, right? And a lot of people think of gut health as good or bad. Gut health is really dynamic. It's neutral. Some of those little microbiomes in your gut can be very beneficial. These microbes help with digestion. They help with absorption of nutrients. They help fight off disease-causing microbes. They make some vitamins for us, and they can even affect our mood and our happiness. And more research shows that our gut has a bigger role in our health than we used to think. We're talking about all kinds of issues like hormonal imbalances, allergies, pains, mood disorders, nutrient deficiencies, and general health. So today we're going to talk about why prebiotics may be more important than probiotics, why kombucha won't really help your gut biome, what specific foods to eat to improve your gut health, why eating very clean might not help your gut health. I think that there are some misunderstandings in this area, and so we want to speak to those. Yeah. You know, Hippocrates said all disease begins in the gut, and he was really on to something thousands of years ago. And while this might not be true 100% for every disease in every person, more and more research shows that our gut, our digestive system, has a bigger role in our health than we used to think. And we're not just talking about heartburn or constipation or diarrhea. We're talking about all kinds of issues, right? Some of them we already mentioned. There's lots of reasons for this. Our gut is the portal to the outside world. It's where we take in disease-causing bacteria, viruses, parasites. When you think about it, things can only enter through our nose, our anus, our mouths. There's a big tube connecting our mouths to our anus. And this is where we, can take in the external world into our bodies. We take in nutrients, we take in toxins in our gut. The nutrients we ingest and that we absorb are the building blocks of every single part of our body. And we're just starting to learn the connections between our gut and other areas of our body, like our brain. We call it the gut-brain axis. And so it's not just our gut per se. There are friendly resident microbes, and these guys have benefits and newly discovered roles in our overall health. So let's talk about this. How does your gut biome play a role in your overall health? Well, first, it acts as a barrier. It lets things in that should get in, and it keeps things out that should stay out. So think of absorption of nutrients as things we want to let in, and elimination of waste as things we want to pass right through and out. And it sounds simple, but it's actually a pretty complex process, and it can really break down. Let's talk about, shall we start with prebiotics or clean eating? What do you think?
Well, I think that we should start talking a little bit about white labels.
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
how there are uh health and fitness professionals out there who sell people these gut health programs in order to increase your gut health and stuff like that. But a lot of times, what they do is they go and they buy these white label programs. What is a white label program? Basically, it is a blank program that is not individualized for a single person, but just an overall general program. Um, and the problem with this is it doesn't take that individual's person's needs into account. And then also there may not be any actual science behind what they're selling. They're just trying to make a quick buck because they know that gut health is this big, huge ordeal right now. And it's something that everyone's a little bit interested in. Even if you're not interested in it, you've probably heard of the term gut health. What is it? How do I improve it? How do I make sure that my gut is healthy? Like it's literally everywhere right now.
Yeah. And these white label programs are basically licensed to you so you can brand them with your logo and your name. You can even rename it and call it like Poly Super Gut Health Program and or supercharge your gut in 30 days or whatever you want to call it. And you can sell it as a digital product. You can sell it to clients. And you're free to do so. Unfortunately, there could be a lot of misinformation in there. And unfortunately, some of these social media influencers are therefore presenting themselves as gut health experts, when in fact, people with PhDs who study the gut biome are still unsure of some of these claims that people make. They see the gut as kind of a new area of science, and it's a black box, and they cannot say with any certainty some of these things. They know that anything you eat affects your biome. They know that basically, if there's anyone claiming with absolute certainty a thing as it relates to health and nutrition and the gut biome, then just it's a red flag. Treat it as a red flag. All
Yeah.
right.
And I think that, one of the purposes of this Facebook Live is to also give you guys awareness of that and of the fact that there are these programs out here that are designed to make you think that they can solve everything, but we want you to have the facts so that you can make that educated decision based on what works best for you.
Or just so one of the ways I'm going to give you an insider's view in health coaching and nutrition coaching, and this kind of there is a shady side to this business. But one of them is to create a problem so that you can present the cure. So they will give you a general list of symptoms, and then they will say that this gut health program or whatever program will solve these general symptoms, right? So what is at the basis of most of these gut health programs? Well, they recommend that you eat a diet rich in whole grains, vegetables, and fruit, that you have a diversity of foods. I mean, basically clean eating, right? And that's going to solve a lot of your gut health problems. And then they may recommend a supplement, which they personally pimp out and make money from, or they make an affiliate commission from, that kind of thing. And often it's just probiotics they don't speak to the importance of prebiotics as well, which we're going to get into. But before we get into that, let's talk about clean eating, okay? Because one of the things that people will talk about is you need to be a clean eater to have a really healthy gut bacteria. So what does clean eating mean? I think we need to agree on these terms first, because clean eating is different for different people. What do you think watching this clean eating means?
Yeah, we would love your guys' opinion.
We would love, as she drinks her Monster sugar-free drink, just like, all right. So for some people, clean eating is really strict, and it borders on something called orthorexia, which is a fear of foods that will make you unhealthy. And I speak from personal experience here, because about 8 years ago, I was trending in that direction. I made my own nut milks. I just was full on into it. And I was afraid of a lot of foods. So some clean eaters, they treat it as a badge of honor that they're a clean eater. But there may be some real hangups there when it comes to food. So let's try to find some consensus on what clean eating is without getting too extreme, because I believe clean eating is a spectrum. And in one extreme, you've got people who will not have any sugars, any dairy, anything that they consider processed. They may even stay away from grains without being told they're celiac. That was me, they might feel like if it has a barcode on it, it's not safe to eat. So salad dressings, they would only make their own, that kind of thing. They would stay away from lectins, possibly. So personally, I think clean eating is a diet that is mostly whole foods. There's nothing wrong with processed foods, and let's face it, it's very difficult to get away from processed foods. Even yogurt is a processed food. Even milk is a processed food, right? But in general, you want a diversity of nutrients from a range of vegetables and fruits and whole grains. And dairy actually is very helpful for your gut. In fact, dairy is a very important probiotic, and it's probably the only probiotic you can take. When you think of fermented foods, we've been told, sauerkraut, natto, which is a fermented bean paste from Japan, kimchi, can you think kombucha?
Kombucha, yeah.
These fermented foods will help your gut. Okay. The evidence is non-existent, weak to non-existent when it comes to fermented foods helping your gut. The only evidence out there that says, there's one particular fermented food that actually has been known to assist with your gut and contains probiotics. And what are probiotics? These are live bacteria found in certain foods or supplements, and they provide a lot of health benefits. But the only one is, guess what is one single food that can actually, that we know will help your gut and contains probiotics?
Looking at the comments.
Well, it's yogurt and kefir, especially kefir, which is like a fermented milky beverage, very close to yogurt, but just like a thin yogurt. There is some evidence that helps your gut.
As you said that, Joan typed yogurt in the comments. Good job, Joan.
Yeah. So for some clean eaters who are trying to eliminate dairy because they've been told by their alternative health practitioner that dairy causes inflammation, which it doesn't, the evidence supports that it actually helps with inflammation. We won't go down that road right now, but dairy can be very beneficial to your gut health, fermented dairy in particular, okay? And you can forget about the fermented foods. Now, if you enjoy eating fermented foods, do it. We are in support of eating foods that you enjoy, and they are healthy in other ways with different nutrients in them. But don't drink that kombucha, that $3 to $5 bottle of kombucha, because you think you're supporting your gut health. Yeah. There are a lot of other things you should be focusing on. So save your money. And this is from a girl who had, I brewed my own kombucha for a couple of years as well, had my own SCOBY, bottled it, etc. So why? I mean, this might be a surprise to a lot of people who enjoy drinking kombucha and may feel like pretty good about themselves for drinking it, feel like they're making a very health conscious decision. If you enjoy kombucha, drink it, but drink it. Enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to maybe talk about, because I've been talking a lot, do you want to talk about kombucha and why it may not have there's a health halo around certain foods?
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah.
So with kombucha, there's no guarantee that by the time that you drink it, there's going to be active bacteria in it at that point, because you have to think it has to be made, it has to be processed. Sometimes it's stored. So there's no way to actively know in that moment when you eat it how much bacteria you're actually getting that's going to actually go into your system and help with that gut bacteria biome. And there's a lot of different information on how much your body actually needs versus how much you're getting. So kombucha, again, as Adele said, if you enjoy drinking it, enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with having it, but it may not be helping your gut quite as much as you think that it is. Do you have anything to add on that?
I would only say, like, the market exploded over a decade ago with food and beverage products that contain live bacterial cultures and claims to improve digestion. And, you know, this is just marketing. This is just putting a health halo on products in order to charge as much as possible. And, you know, do these work? No. Only fermented dairy, especially kefir, is supported by high quality evidence. So, you know, save your money. Unless you just enjoy having it, then have it for pleasure's sake. So what is the difference between prebiotics and probiotics? Well, prebiotics are these substances that come from carbs. Yes, carbs. And everyone's low carbing it these days, right? Mostly fiber. And because you can only get fiber from carbohydrates that humans can't digest. And they actually feed the beneficial bacteria in your gut. You have these little organisms in your gut. They need to feed on something. They feed on fiber. This helps your gut health. Unfortunately, in America, very few people get enough fiber every day. They may supplement, at least, you know, but I think if people just ate more fruits and vegetables, we'd all be better off, period. But so that's prebiotics. Probiotics are these live bacteria that are found in certain foods or supplements. I think a lot of people are already familiar with probiotics. They provide numerous health benefits. It's I think people should focus more so on prebiotics. I think that there's not enough emphasis on that. So let me give you some examples. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to make a point here is that your body basically, whenever you eat the prebiotics, as your body as the bacteria feeds off of the fiber that you're eating, it's creating probiotics. So that's kind of one of the other benefits of eating prebiotics is your body's naturally going to make those probiotics.
You know, there are plant fibers that can be found only in complex carbohydrates. And a big reason why you shouldn't cut out carbohydrates. They feed this good bacteria in your gut. I
mean, you did say it was all connected.
Yeah. I'm sure. But that's so funny. And so they really do have many health benefits. Things like they keep your blood sugar and your cholesterol levels in check. They help your immune system. They give it a boost. They can help you feel fuller for longer, which is really important for weight management. And they support a healthy digestive system. So I guess my challenge to you this week is to have a different prebiotic food this week. Have at least 3. Okay, so here are some examples. If you don't know what foods contain prebiotics, think about foods that have fiber. So apples, asparagus, bananas, cocoa, actually cooked and cooled potatoes, dandelion greens, flaxseed, garlic, oats, onions. I mean, these things all contain prebiotics. So do your gut some good this week. Make sure you get in some fresh foods. It's really, I feel like we tend to want to pop a pill in our society rather than get at root cause. And the root cause of a lot of health issues are a lack of movement, a lack of activity, and too much junk food and not enough whole foods and not enough, especially plants. That's a big part of it. And if we could just eat more plants and move more, we would probably greatly improve our health. How we can improve our gut health other than what we consume.
So movement.
Yeah.
Daily movement can really help improve your gut health as well. The more you move, the more your body naturally digests your food and gets all that movement inside. I'm going to talk a little more about that.
Yeah. So movement helps with the peristaltic action to help you digest and eliminate food. Also, movement can support your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the rest and digest response. So daily movement, it does not have to be high intensity. Just go for a walk, do some stretching, that kind of thing. That can really help with your overall gut health. Another thing that can help with your gut health that is often overlooked is the importance of chewing your food. Do you want to talk about that?
I actually was reading an article and it was kind of eye-opening to me because I've always known the importance of chewing your food and slowing down your eating for satiety reasons, for being able to understand where you are on the actual hunger levels and letting your body actually listen to your natural hormonals, listen to the leptin and the ghrelin and all that, that all plays into meal duration. But I didn't really ever think about the connection of meal duration and gut health. But this article was stating that whenever you take your time and actually physically chew your food until it's about the consistency of applesauce before swallowing it, you are more likely to digest that a little bit better without as much discomfort. Whenever we swallow larger food particles, we're also swallowing a lot of air, which can add to gas and that bloated feeling while we're digesting the food. So by taking your time and chewing your food and making it super small before swallowing it, you're eliminating a lot of that. And that can actually help with your overall gut health as well, because you're not all gassy and bloated after eating at that point.
Yeah, bloat is a really common complaint. And sometimes it's not the food you eat, it's how you eat it. Also, it can help with nutrient absorption when you take your time to chew things thoroughly before you swallow. So those are some tips for you to, improve your gut health. And you do that, you just start chewing your food, you start moving daily, you start having more plants in your diet, and that will go a long way to improving your gut health without having to pop a pill. And as long as you don't have an allergy to dairy, I would consider adding some kefir or some yogurt as well.
So I will say that one time where you might want to possibly think about doing some kind of probiotic supplementation is if you have been on some sort of antibiotic.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, it could be very helpful to have that. But if you're not sure, you can always talk to your doctor whenever they prescribe you an antibiotic and say, hey, I know that antibiotics can affect with your gut health. Do you suggest that I take a probiotic with this medication?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And your pharmacy may actually sell some probiotics. If you were to take an antibiotic, you can ask them. I know my pharmacy had a fridge with it, and it should be refrigerated because it's live. So I know some are just sold on the shelf. I just feel more comfortable because it's a live bacteria with having something that actually has to be refrigerated. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not an expert on that either, the shelf-stable probiotics versus the ones that have to be refrigerated. But yeah, that's a really good point, Tiffany. So give more thought to daily movement, chewing your food thoroughly, prebiotics, having more plants, and then, of course, taking a probiotic when you take antibiotics. And discuss that with your pharmacy when you're picking up your antibiotics. They'll have some good input there too. All right, I think that's it. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about too much, I think clearly enough. If you're a clean eater and eating from a very small list of foods, you might not be doing your gut health much of a service there. Consider what foods you might have eliminated, and maybe having more diversity could improve your overall gut health. Certainly when people eliminate gluten because they suspect a sensitivity, or they eliminate milk even though they don't have an allergy, some of those enzymes disappear when they reintroduce them after maybe abstaining from them for 6 months or years, and they bring them back. Now they have issues because they lack those enzymes to digest those things. So if you are bringing back foods, start with very small amounts. Don't do it every day. and see how you respond. And I would, if you're bringing back dairy, I would start with fermented dairy and then maybe hard cheeses as well. Eventually you'll get that enzyme back and find it easier to digest. And again, I mentioned that's not if you have an allergy, only if you stop those foods because you suspected you had an intolerance or a sensitivity. All right, any questions? Comment below. We'll monitor the chat. Thanks for coming today. We're going to see you next week. We have a really special guest next week.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. And it'll be a 4-part interview with Coach Tiffany, Coach Hannah, myself, and Alice Adams, the Kegel Queen. And we're going to be talking about pelvic health. And I think that's going to be a really interesting conversation. If you'd like to know more about nutrition, we have our Eat for Your Goals course for $30. It's a crash course in nutrition and tracking macros. And if you'd like the link for that, just comment below and we will make sure you get that. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. Take care.
Bye.